press conference afterwards, somebody said to me, you know, what's your interpretation of the end? How do you see the end? And I said, well, the important thing is it's ambiguous and it's up for the audience to decide. But what I think is blah, 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 blah. And nobody heard the beginning of that answer. They just heard what I think. And
What is good, y'all? Welcome back to another video. My name is ASOL, and I'm going to be doing another movie review. And this time, it's another one of Christopher Nolan's sci-fi movies. I won't say thriller because it's definitely not a thriller, definitely sci-fi action. And it is called Tenet. This is actually one of my all-time favorites, and the music is composed by Ludwig Goransson. I am butchering his name, I know that, but Ludwig has done a lot of other movies that you guys are familiar with, such as Black Panther. I actually intend to do both. I want to do the first Black Panther, and once the movie has finally gone to Disney Plus with no issues for streaming, I will do the second one as well for the soundtrack because Ludwig's just that good. He also has done movies such as Creed, pretty much all the Creeds, and the upcoming movie Creed 3, which will be during the summertime, and also some other Disney classics that will become classics, like Turning Red, also some Star Wars shows such as Mandalorian and Boba Fett. But without further ado, let's get into Tenet.
The structure of the vaults is based on the pentagon, each vault a separate structure within the others. Damage to one structure won't compromise the other. Of course,
It breaks down. That's what I really like about this.
opting for biometric access straight in, off the tarmac. From the terminal, from their private planes.
So, the clip that I was just showing you guys, okay, there will be spoilers. I just did not go in with the spoiler warning, but in this scene, this is called a free port where they just bring in merchandise such as artwork and architecture from private planes, and they were looking for what was called a turnstile. So, spoiler alert, there's going to be some time travel in this movie, but it's a little weird. It deals with entropy. So, a lot of my sci-fi people or into a bit of physics and energy transfer type thing, this is your movie. So in this part specifically with the track Freeport, a little on the nose there, but with Freeport it has a lot of synths in it. Ludwig is very big for his synths, so with it goes into like this kind of, how do I describe it? Because the scene is not that interesting. It's literally just explaining what a free port is and then just how they're going to turn it into a heist. So think of it as just heist music, like in a video game where you're just kind of profiling the area, just kind of getting a feel of where you're going to be, where the exits are, the fire escape, blah, 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 blah. But he makes it super interesting with the synths. And a lot of times when I think of a synth, I think of those cheesy 80s movies where they just be like, or just think of Stranger Things where it's like, but they revamped synths. And Ludwig uses a lot of them, especially in this movie, because again, it's about time travel. So it's got to be a bit more interesting and intricate. So he uses a lot of backwards type tracks. One track in particular on the soundtrack, Posterity, it's 12 minutes long. I'll say that because it's basically the end scene, going towards the biggest fight scene in the movie, and that's all it is. It goes back and forth because there's two teams. So the first team is pretty much going in, getting everything done, trying to get to the bad guy, and then the other team is coming from the past because they already went there ahead of time to make sure the first team knows what's going to happen so that they can win. And it switches in between. It's so good. You guys should give it a listen. It's 12 minutes long. It may be a YouTube length soundtrack, but it won't feel like it once you listen to it. And then of course they included the one and only Travis Scott in the soundtrack, which was also a big thing because he uses a lot of auto-tune, but it fits for the movie because the main character doesn't have a name. They just call him the protagonist, pretty much just the main character, but they never give him a name. So every time he shows up on screen, you get Travis Scott going some on a whole auto-tune wave. So I know I didn't do it justice, but you know, I don't got no auto-tune on me right now. So that's just how we're going to do it for right now. But I will say throughout the course of the movie, it just jumps right into it, and the soundtrack makes you feel like you're at the edge of your seat the entire time. That's why I love it so much. Like from the get-go, as soon as you get into the movie, the first scene is literally just about to be an orchestra performance, and they're tuning themselves up, and they always tune in the key of A, but in the beginning, it's pretty much played backwards, so it doesn't sound right, so it sounds a bit off. But then as soon as they're about to perform, it just goes like, so you're not even ready for it. When I first saw it, I honestly, when I found the movie, I was actually trying to find something to make fun of, because I do this thing where I'll watch movies intentionally to make fun of them. But as soon as I started watching, I fell in love with it. From the casting choice all the way down to the soundtrack, especially the soundtrack, which is pretty much my bread and butter. Like, I like a good soundtrack, I'll say that. And with that, I honestly will get you guys back with another video. Hopefully it will be Black Panther and or Black Panther 2, depending on how soon Disney starts streaming it. I'll let you guys know about that Black Panther 2, but I definitely want to get into Black Panther because I love Ludwig's work. He may be up and coming, but I'm starting to get tired of talking about Hans, because every other movie I pick, Hans is in it. And honestly, it's got to be anything but a Christopher Nolan movie. This is the third Christopher Nolan movie that I just posted. But anyways, without further ado, thank you so much for watching. Just go ahead and like and subscribe, leave a comment, and see you guys in the next one.